We moved into Maryland in 2010. So we had our first Christmas. Both sets of grandparents were here staying with us. And it was wonderful.
Yeah, it's very busy, but very nice Christmas.
Absolutely.
Really enjoyed it.
Into the new year, Kaitlyn would wake up and her arm would shake.
She would have tremors.
Just a little bit. Like, we didn't know if it was sugar she needed to eat, or she was cold, because it would just come and go. And we only kind of saw it in the morning. Yes. And then later into February, she was going down the stairs with a drink, and her hand was shaking so much that she dropped it.
And she wasn't able to hold the glass, and she dropped the glasses on the way up the stairs.
Made an appointment for the doctor, and they did a couple tests on her stability and walking. Could she walk a straight line? And she really couldn't walk a straight line. So the doctor said, this I remember them saying, you don't have to go today, but you should make an appointment tomorrow for a head CT scan. And they said, go to a major hospital. So the next day we brought her in, and they did the CT scan. That's when they found a tumor in her brainstem.
During the day, I was in meetings in my office in New Jersey, and I was watching my phone very closely, just waiting for that phone call, because I knew she was having the MRI done, and I would hear little things here and there when I would talk to Mary on the phone. And then when she called me and told me that I needed to come home right away, I basically raced out the building and started driving. It was a very long ride. I mean, those 4 hours seemed like about 3 days of driving. I think the minute I walked in the room, Mary took a look at me, and that's, I think, when she started to break down a bit and she had to leave the room.
You showed us the picture. That's devastating.
Yes, there was no surgical options at all, just because of the location of where it was.
So it was really hard to hear.
Yeah, it was.
Like your whole life changes at that moment.
She had this tumor in a really unfavorable location, and so we started with the sort of standard treatment, which is a regimen that is relatively low intensity, and she would take medicine about once a month, and then we'd come back to the clinic about every 2 weeks, so we would see how she was doing. And she was also taking steroids, which are designed to shrink the swelling around the tumor, and then those have some bad side effects where you gain a lot of weight, and some patients can make you particularly angry or more emotional. In her case, she actually got even more sort of jovial and good-tempered, which was really a blessing. And so unfortunately, after a few months, it became clear that the tumor was not responding to this therapy, but actually was growing more.
Hi, I'm Kaitlyn Dorman. I'm 11, and I was diagnosed with a brain tumor when I was 9 years old. When I heard what I actually had, I was afraid I wasn't gonna make it. So, yeah, I started getting a little bit nervous, and I could tell my parents were nervous. So I probably was a little bit nervous too.
But it was tough. She had a tough time, with the steroids and the different medication and losing mobility and being in a wheelchair. We had to homeschool her. Throughout the whole process there at Johns Hopkins, we always were given some hope. Like, there was always something positive to look forward to.
So through some research that has happened at Johns Hopkins and elsewhere, it's been identified that there's a particular pathway that's turned on in these aggressive low-grade gliomas. And so that's the type of tumor that Kaitlyn had. And so this pathway, there's drugs that can target it. And so this clinical trial, which was only open really at maybe 5 to 10 institutions in the United States, looked at targeting just that pathway with a specific drug and in these patients who have low-grade gliomas. And so we were able to enroll Kaitlyn on that trial after talking with her and her family. Funding from the Zachary Hebda Foundation and other foundations will allow us to continue this type of research and come up with new therapies and to expand these type of breakthroughs for other patients just like Kaitlyn. So she was able to take this one tablet every day, and she stuck with it, did great with it, and over the course of months she was able to fully recover her function. So she's able to play the piano, she's able to run, and when you look at her MRI, you cannot find the tumor anymore.
Well, I could really play the piano with my right hand, but with my left hand, since it was unable to move, I had to keep it over here. I had to keep it like over to the side while I was playing. And my piano teacher, Mr. Jeremy, he taught me chords, some chords on my right hand. And when my left hand got a little bit stronger, all I did is I kind of went like, I just hit one note at a time, and then sooner or later I started playing all of it again and again. And so then my left hand got better, and now I can play normally just like when I was younger.
So I do say that things happen for a reason. The fact that those series of events fell into place that brought us here.
And the timing was perfect.
To these doctors.
Yes.
That's why she's, perfect now. So.